The stars looked peaceful through the bridge windows of the New Horizon. Captain Jake Morrison stood watching them, coffee in hand, thinking about the new world they were heading to. Behind him, his crew worked quietly at their stations. Everything felt normal. 3,000 people lived on this ship. Families mostly, all hoping to start fresh on Kepler 442b. The planet had good air, clean water, and land ready for farming. Jake had seen the reports. It would be a good home for everyone, especially the kids. 200 children were aboard the New Horizon. They ran through the corridors, played in the recreation areas, and filled the ship with laughter. Jake loved hearing them. It reminded him why they were making this long journey across space. Dr. Lisa Harper was checking on some of the younger children in the medical bay when the alarm started screaming. Her son Danny looked up from the book he was reading. "Mom, what's that noise?" the 8-year-old asked. Lisa felt her stomach drop. She had heard those alarms before during training. Enemy ships. On the bridge, Jake stared at the screens in horror. Massive alien vessels had appeared out of nowhere. They were huge, dark, and covered in strange spikes. The computer identified them as Zephyrian Empire ships. "How many?" Jake asked his weapons officer. 12 ships, sir, all bigger than us." Jake's hands shook as he reached for the communication system. The Zephyrians were known across the galaxy as conquerors. They had destroyed entire worlds and enslaved whole species. No one fought them and won. A cold voice filled the bridge. The translation system turned the alien words into English, but the voice still sounded wrong somehow. "Human vessel, this is General Vexitar of the Zephyrian Empire. You will surrender immediately or be destroyed." Jake looked around at his crew. They were all civilians. The New Horizon had some basic weapons, but nothing that could fight 12 Zephyrian warships. He thought about all the families counting on him. "This is Captain Morrison. We are a civilian colony ship with women and children aboard. We pose no threat to your empire." The alien general laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "All humans are threats. You will lower your shields and prepare to be boarded." Jake's weapons officer, a young man named Pete Davis, whispered urgently, "Sir, should we fight?" "With what?" Jake whispered back. "We have mining lasers and some old missiles. They have enough firepower to turn us into space dust." The Zephyrian ships moved closer. Through the view screen, Jake could see the lead vessel. It looked like a giant insect made of metal, all sharp edges and glowing red lights. "I'm waiting, human," General Vexitar said. His voice was getting colder. Jake closed his eyes for a moment. He thought about Danny Harper and all the other children. Then he opened his eyes and made his choice. "General, I cannot surrender this ship. These people are under my protection. Then you have chosen death." The Zephyrian ships opened fire, but not with killing weapons. Strange blue energy beams hit the New Horizon, and all the lights went out. The artificial gravity failed and everyone started floating. Emergency power kicked in a few seconds later, but Jake knew they were helpless now. "All weapons offline," Pete reported. "Engines dead. Life support running on backup power." Through the bridge speakers came the sound of something Jake had never heard before. It was like metal scraping against metal, but somehow alive. The Zephyrians were boarding the ship. Lisa Harper floated in the medical bay, holding Danny close. Other children were crying and asking questions she could not answer. The doors suddenly glowed with strange light, and alien soldiers walked through the walls like they were made of air. The Zephyrians were tall as basketball players, but thin like insects. They had 4 arms each and faces that looked like a mix of ant and spider. Their skin was dark green and shiny like armor. They moved in perfect formation, never making a sound except for that terrible scraping noise. One of them pointed a device at the children. A beam of light surrounded each child and they started to disappear. "No," Lisa screamed, reaching for Danny. But the light took him too, and her hands passed through empty air. The same thing was happening all over the ship. Every human child, from babies to teenagers, vanished in beams of alien light. Parents screamed and fought, but the Zephyrian soldiers ignored them completely. They only took the children. On the bridge, Jake watched his crew panic as the reports came in. All 200 children were gone. Every single one. General Vexitar's voice filled the ship again. "Your offspring now serve the Zephyrian Empire. They will be trained, studied, and put to use. You adults are worthless to us. Bring them back!" Jake shouted at the communication system. "They're just children." "They are resources now. Human children will help us understand your species. We have learned that humans fight differently when their young are threatened. We wish to study this weakness." Lisa Harper had made it to the bridge somehow. Her face was white with shock and tears ran down her cheeks. "Please," she said to the alien general. "Danny is just a little boy. He's never hurt anyone. Your emotional attachment to offspring makes humans predictable. This is why your species will never rule the galaxy. You can be controlled through your children." The Zephyrian ships began moving away from the New Horizon. General Vextar had one more message for the humans. "Do not attempt to follow us. Do not try to rescue them. Any human military vessels that enter our space will result in the immediate execution of 10 children. Your offspring will live only as long as you stay away." Jake slammed his fist on his chair. "You coward! Fight us directly." But the alien ships were already disappearing into hyperspace, taking 200 human children with them. The New Horizon drifted in space, its engines still dead. Jake looked around at his crew and the parents who had lost everything. Lisa Harper was crying quietly in the corner, staring at the spot where her son had been taken. "Sir," Pete whispered, "what do we do now?" Jake did not have an answer. For the first time in his life, he had no idea what to do next. All he knew was that somewhere in the galaxy, 200 human children were in the hands of monsters, and there was nothing he could do to save them. The stars looked different now. They looked cold and dangerous, full of enemies who thought humans were weak because they loved their children. Jake made himself a promise that night. Somehow, someday, General Vextar would learn that taking human children was the worst mistake he had ever made. 3 weeks had passed since the children disappeared. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge of her battlecruiser, the Defiant, and studied the star charts. She commanded 5 destroyers and her flagship, the most powerful rescue fleet humanity could put together quickly. The politicians back on Earth had argued for days about what to do. Some wanted to negotiate. Others wanted to declare war on the entire Zephyrian Empire. In the end, they chose Admiral Sullivan because she had children of her own and understood what was at stake. Her fleet had followed the alien ships across half the galaxy. The trail led to a star system the humans had never seen before. It had 3 planets and was surrounded by space mines and weapon platforms. In the center floated the biggest space station Kate had ever seen. "How many ships are out there?" she asked her tactical officer. Lieutenant Commander Alex Turner studied his screens. 20 Zephyrian warships, all bigger than our destroyers. The space station has enough weapons to fight our entire fleet by itself. Kate felt sick to her stomach. She had expected a fight, but this looked impossible. The aliens had been waiting for them. Her communication officer spoke up. "Admiral, we're getting a signal from the space station." "Put it on screen." The view screen lit up with the image of General Vextar. The alien general looked even more frightening on camera. His dark green face had too many angles and his forearms moved constantly like spider legs. "Admiral Sullivan," he said in that cold voice, "welcome to your children's new home." The screen changed to show the inside of the space station. Kate gasped when she saw hundreds of human children in metal cages. They looked scared and hungry, but they were alive, you see? "We have kept our word. Your offspring live, but they belong to us now." Kate's hands clenched into fists. "What do you want?" "Nothing from you. We are studying these humans to understand your species. Children adapt faster than adults. Soon we will know all your weaknesses." On the screen, Kate could see some of the younger children crying. A girl who looked about 12 was trying to comfort the others. The sight made Kate's heart break. "Let them go," she said quietly. "Please, they're innocent." General Vextar made that glass-breaking laugh again. "Innocent?" "Human children are raised to be warriors from birth. Your species teaches them to fight, to never give up, to protect each other. This makes them dangerous. They're just kids. Nothing about humans is just anything. You are the only species in the galaxy that becomes more deadly when protecting offspring. We must understand this before you spread to more worlds." Kate looked at her tactical display again. The odds were terrible, but she had to try. 200 human children were counting on her. "General, I propose a deal. Let me come aboard with a small team. We'll discuss terms. There are no terms. Leave now, or we will execute 10 children to demonstrate our seriousness." Kate made her decision. She opened a private channel to Captain Ryan Bell, the Marine commander aboard her ship. "Ryan, prep your strike team. We're going in." Captain Bell was a tough soldier who had fought in 3 wars. He had volunteered for this mission because his own daughter was among the captured children. "Understood, Admiral. My team is ready." Kate knew she was breaking orders from Earth Command, but she did not care. Those children needed help now. Not after months of failed negotiations. The plan was simple. Kate's destroyers would attack the alien ships and draw their attention. While the battle raged, Captain Bell and his Marines would use stealth shuttles to board the space station and rescue the children. Kate opened communications to the alien general one more time. General Vextar, I'm giving you one last chance. Release the children and we'll leave peacefully. Your threats amuse me, Admiral. You have 6 ships. We have 20 plus this battle station. You cannot win, maybe not, Kate said. But humans don't give up when children are in danger. She cut the communication and turned to her crew. All ships, attack pattern Delta. Protect the rescue shuttles at all costs. The battle began immediately. Kate's ships opened fire on the alien vessels while Captain Bell's shuttles raced toward the space station. For a few minutes, it looked like the plan might work, but General Vextar had been expecting this exact strategy. Hidden weapon platforms activated around the station, catching the human shuttles in crossfire. 3 of the 4 shuttles were destroyed before they could reach their target. Captain Bell's shuttle made it to the station, but barely. His team of 12 Marines was cut down to 4 by the time they fought through the first security door. On the Defiance Bridge, Kate watched her plan fall apart. Her ships were taking heavy damage and she was losing people fast. Admiral, her tactical officer called out. The captain's team has reached the children's section. Kate's heart lifted for a moment. Maybe they could still save some of the kids. But then General Vextar appeared on her screen again. And Kate saw something that would give her nightmares for the rest of her life. The alien general was standing in the room with the human children. In his hands was a weapon that hummed with deadly energy. You have made a mistake, Admiral. I warned you what would happen if human military forces entered our space. Wait, Kate screamed. We'll withdraw. Just don't hurt them. But it was too late. General Vextar pointed his weapon at 10 of the youngest children and fired. The energy beam killed them instantly. Kate watched 8-year-old Danny Harper die along with 9 other innocent kids. Captain Bell and his remaining Marines arrived just in time to see the executions. Ryan Bell let out a roar of rage and charged at the alien general, but Zephyrian soldiers cut him down with their own weapons. Kate stared at the screen in horror. She had come here to save the children, and instead she had gotten some of them killed. You see, General Vextar said calmly. Human emotions make you weak. Your need to protect offspring clouds your judgment. This is why humans will never conquer the galaxy. Kate's surviving ships were taking too much damage. She had no choice but to order a retreat, leaving 190 human children still in alien hands. As her battered fleet jumped to hyperspace, Kate collapsed in her command chair. She had failed completely. The children were still prisoners. Captain Bell was dead, and 10 kids had been murdered because of her decision to attack. But as she sat there in defeat, Kate made herself a promise. General Vextar thought human emotions were a weakness. He thought love for children made humans predictable and stupid. The alien general was about to learn how wrong he was. Kate would make sure of that, even if it took the rest of her life. The rescue had failed, but the war for humanity's children had just begun. And Kate Sullivan intended to win it no matter what it cost. 6 months had passed since the failed rescue attempt. Dr. Lisa Harper sat in a dark bar on the edge of human space, waiting for a man she had never met. The bar was full of smugglers, mercenaries, and people who did not want to be found. Lisa fit right in now. She was not the same woman who had once saved lives in a clean medical bay. Her clothes were dark and practical. Her hands, once soft from healing work, now had calluses from weapons training, but her eyes were the hardest part. They burned with a cold fire that never went out. Danny was dead. She had watched her son die on that horrible transmission from General Vextar. The pain had nearly killed her, but instead it had changed her into something new. Something dangerous. President Charles Knox and his government were still trying to negotiate with the Zephyrian Empire. They sent messages and held meetings and made speeches about peaceful solutions. Meanwhile, 190 human children remained prisoners of aliens who saw them as lab rats. Lisa was done waiting for politicians. The man she was meeting walked into the bar right on time. Marcus Cole looked like a soldier, even in civilian clothes. He was tall and strong, with scars on his face and hands that never stopped moving. Lisa had heard he was the best at what he did. Dr. Harper, he asked, sitting down across from her. Not doctor anymore, Lisa said. Just Lisa now, Marcus nodded. He understood. You said on the message that you wanted to hire my team. I want to hire anyone willing to go into Zephyrian space and bring those children home. That's suicide. The government already tried a military rescue. It failed. Lisa leaned forward. The government played by rules. They announced their intentions, followed protocols, tried to negotiate. I'm not interested in rules anymore. Marcus studied her face. He had seen that look before, in soldiers who had lost everything and decided they had nothing left to lose. Even if we could get to wherever they're holding the kids, we'd never make it back out. The entire Zephyrian military would be hunting us. Then we make sure the children get out even if we don't. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Finally he spoke. My daughter Emma was on that colony ship. She's 11 now if she's still alive. Lisa felt something inside her chest loosen slightly. Danny was 8. He liked stories about spaceships and dragons. Emma loves music. She was learning to play the violin. Marcus looked down at his hands. The government told us to be patient, said they were making progress through diplomatic channels. How much progress can they make when the aliens won't even respond to their messages? Marcus smiled, but it was not a happy expression. You've been checking on the negotiations too. Every day for 6 months. The Zephyrians ignore every attempt at communication. General Vextar has what he wants. He's studying our children, learning about human nature through torture and experimentation. Marcus pulled out a small device and set it on the table between them. This conversation never happened and we never met. Understood? Lisa nodded. I've been putting together a team, Marcus said quietly. Other parents who lost children. Some former military people who got kicked out for asking too many questions about why we're not doing more to rescue the kids. How many people? 12 who were serious about dying if necessary. Maybe 6 more who could help with equipment and intelligence. Lisa reached into her jacket and pulled out a data pad. I've been working on this for 3 months. Everything I could find about Zephyrian technology, military tactics, and psychology. Marcus looked at the information on the pad. His eyebrows went up. Where did you get this? I sold everything I owned and used the money to buy information from smugglers, arms dealers, and anyone else who had contacts in alien space. I also hacked into some government databases. That's illegal. So is letting children die while politicians make speeches. Marcus scrolled through the data. According to this, the children are being held at a research facility called the Crucible. It's on a planet deep in Zephyrian territory, 47 light-years from the nearest human outpost. The planet has a toxic atmosphere, so everything happens inside sealed facilities. Perfect for keeping prisoners. It also says General Vextar has been conducting psychological experiments on the children, trying to understand what makes humans so unpredictable in combat. Lisa's voice got very quiet. He's torturing them to learn our weaknesses. Marcus kept reading. But look at this part. Your intelligence sources say the children have been organizing resistance inside the facility. They've been sabotaging equipment and gathering information. Lisa smiled for the first time in months. Amy Rodriguez is 12 years old and the oldest of the captured children. According to my sources, she's been leading them. How do you know all this? I made contact with some alien black market traders who have people inside Zephyrian space. It cost me every credit I had, but I've been getting reports. Marcus closed the data pad and looked at Lisa with new respect. You're not just some angry parent looking for revenge. You've been planning an actual operation. The government failed because they tried to be honorable. They announced their intentions and gave the aliens time to prepare. We're not going to be honorable. What are you suggesting? Lisa leaned closer. We go in quiet and dirty. We pretend to be alien traders or smugglers until we reach the facility. Then we get the children out fast and run like hell. The odds of success are practically zero. The odds of success doing nothing are actually zero. At least this way we have a chance. Marcus was quiet for several minutes thinking. Finally he spoke. I know where we can get a Zephyrian ship. It was captured by pirates and is being held at a black market shipyard. Can your people fly alien technology? One of my team members is a pilot who has experience with captured enemy vessels. Jennifer Martinez, callsign Ace. She's good enough to fly anything. Lisa felt hope starting to build in her chest. So you'll do it? I'll present your plan to the team. If they agree, we'll start making preparations. How long? 6 weeks minimum. Maybe 2 months. We need to modify the alien ship, gather intelligence, and plan the mission down to the last detail. Lisa nodded. I'll keep working on intelligence gathering. And Marcus, I have one more thing that might help. What? Amy Rodriguez and I have been communicating through the black market contacts. She's been preparing the other children for a rescue attempt. They're not just sitting around waiting to be saved. They're ready to fight. Marcus stood up and shook Lisa's hand. Welcome to the underground war, Lisa. Let's go steal back our children. As Marcus walked away, Lisa sat alone in the dark bar and thought about Danny. He would never come home, but maybe Emma and Amy and the other children still could. General Vextar thought human love for children was a weakness. He was about to learn the truth. There was nothing in the universe more dangerous than parents who had nothing left to lose. The stolen Zephyrian ship looked like a giant metal insect as it drifted toward the Crucible facility. Inside, 12 humans prepared for the most dangerous mission any of them had ever attempted. Dr. Lisa Harper checked her weapon for the 10th time. The alien blaster felt heavy in her hands, but she had practiced with it every day for 2 months. Marcus Cole sat across from her, studying the facility blueprints on his tablet. Remember, he said quietly to the team, we're alien traders bringing medical supplies to the facility. Our ship's identity codes should get us past the outer defenses. Jennifer Martinez, their pilot, spoke over the communication system. Approaching the docking bay now. Everyone stay calm and let me do the talking until we're inside. Tony Brennan, their explosives expert, patted the bag beside him. Once we reach the children, I'll need 15 minutes to set the charges that will create our escape route. Lisa looked around at the other team members. They were all parents who had lost children to General Vextar. Some were former soldiers like Marcus. Others were ordinary people like herself, who had learned to fight because they had no other choice. They had spent weeks modifying the captured Zephyrian ship. Human engineers had hidden weapons and added faster engines while making everything look normal from the outside. If the disguise worked, they would dock with the facility like any other supply ship. Docking Bay is accepting our approach, Jennifer announced. Identity codes are working. Lisa felt her heart start beating faster. After all these months of planning, they were actually here. Somewhere in this facility, Amy Rodriguez and the other children were waiting. Through the ship's cameras, Lisa could see the Crucible facility up close for the first time. It was enormous, built into the side of a mountain on this poisonous planet. Thousands of lights showed where aliens worked on their terrible experiments. The ship settled into the docking bay with a soft thump. Through the windows, Lisa could see Zephyrian workers moving around, unloading other ships and checking cargo. Stay in character, Marcus whispered. We're here to deliver medical supplies and pick up research data. Nothing else. The team had practiced this performance dozens of times. Lisa and 3 others would pose as the alien traders. The rest would hide in the cargo hold until it was time to fight. Jennifer opened the ship's doors and walked down the ramp, followed by Lisa and the others. They wore alien clothing and masks that changed their faces. Lisa hoped the disguise would work long enough to get them inside. A Zephyrian supervisor approached them. He was tall and thin like all his species, with that strange scraping voice. Traders from the Vexcar system, Jennifer said in perfect alien language. We bring medical supplies as contracted. The supervisor looked at their cargo manifest on his tablet. These supplies are for the human specimens? Yes. General Vextar ordered special drugs to keep them healthy during extended testing. Lisa held her breath. Would the alien believe their story? Acceptable. Proceed to Cargo Bay 7 for unloading. You may collect the research data from Section 12 afterward. Jennifer nodded. We understand. How many specimens remain active? 187. 3 died during the latest psychological stress tests. Lisa almost lost control when she heard that. 3 more children were dead, killed by alien experiments. Marcus grabbed her arm gently, reminding her to stay calm. They followed the supervisor deeper into the facility. The corridors were lit with harsh red light, and the air smelled like metal and chemicals. Lisa could hear strange sounds echoing from other sections of the complex. The human specimens have proven interesting, the supervisor continued as they walked. Their resistance to mental conditioning exceeds all predictions. Even the youngest ones refuse to accept defeat. What makes them so stubborn? Jennifer asked, still playing her role. Unknown. General Vextar believes it is connected to their pack-bonding behavior. They form emotional attachments that override logical survival instincts. They reached Cargo Bay 7 and began unloading fake medical supplies. Lisa watched alien workers carry the boxes away, not knowing that each one contained weapons and explosives. Your research data is ready in Section 12, the supervisor said. Follow me. As they walked through more corridors, Lisa caught glimpses through windows of the horrible experiments being conducted. In one room, young humans were forced to solve puzzles while electric shocks punished wrong answers. In another, children were separated from each other to test emotional responses. Lisa's anger burned hotter with every step. These aliens were torturing human children in the name of science. They reached Section 12, which was near the main detention area. Lisa could almost feel the presence of the captured children somewhere close by. Wait here while I retrieve your data, the supervisor said, disappearing into an office. Marcus checked his watch. Amy should have gotten our signal by now. The children will start their distraction in 5 minutes. Jennifer nodded. Tony, how long do you need to reach the detention center? 3 minutes through these corridors. I'll set the charges and signal when you should bring the ship around. Lisa pulled out her weapon. Remember, we only get one chance at this. Once the shooting starts, every alien in the facility will be hunting us. The supervisor came back with a data pad. Your research information. General Vextar hopes the Vexcar system will find it useful for controlling their own human populations. Jennifer took the pad. Thank you. We will return next month with more supplies. But as they turned to leave, alarms began screaming throughout the facility. Red lights flashed and alien voices shouted over the communication system. What is happening? The supervisor demanded, checking his own tablet. The human specimens are rioting in Detention Sector 4. Another alien reported over the radio. They have somehow disabled the security system and are breaking out of their cells. Lisa smiled inside her mask. Amy Rodriguez was right on time. The supervisor looked suspicious suddenly. You traitors arrived at a very convenient time. Marcus made his choice. He pulled out his weapon and shot the alien before he could sound an alert. So much for staying undercover. Everyone move! The team split up according to their plan. Jennifer ran back toward the ship while Marcus led most of the team toward the detention center. Lisa and Tony went to plant explosives that would create their escape route. As they ran through the corridors, Lisa could hear more alarms and the sounds of fighting. The children were not just escaping their cells. They were fighting back against their captors. This way, Tony shouted, leading her toward the facility's power center. If we can overload their main reactor, it'll create enough chaos to cover our retreat. But as they rounded a corner, they found themselves face to face with General Vextar himself. The alien general stood in their path, surrounded by his elite guards. I have been expecting you, he said in that cold voice Lisa remembered from her nightmares. Did you really think I would not prepare for desperate humans attempting a rescue? Lisa raised her weapon, but the alien guards were faster. Energy beams hit her and Tony, and everything went black. When Lisa woke up, she was in a metal chair with her hands tied behind her back. General Vextar stood in front of her, studying her like a laboratory specimen. Dr. Lisa Harper, he said, the mother of the human child I executed as an example. You have traveled very far for revenge. Lisa looked around the room. She could see Tony tied up nearby, but there was no sign of Marcus or the others. Through the windows, she could still hear fighting. Where are my people? She demanded. Some are dead. Others are fighting my soldiers in the detention center. They cannot win, but they are proving most educational. What do you mean? General Vextar moved closer. I have been studying human behavior under extreme stress. Your species becomes more dangerous, not less, when protecting offspring. This rescue attempt is the perfect experiment. Lisa stared at the alien general with hate. You're using the children as bait. Of course. I knew desperate parents would eventually attempt a rescue. I have learned much about human psychology by watching your team's preparations. You've been watching us? For months. Your communications with the young female Amy Rodriguez, your recruitment of Marcus Cole, your purchase of this ship. Everything has proceeded exactly as I predicted. Lisa felt sick. Their entire mission had been expected from the beginning. But I must admit, General Vextar continued, the children have surprised me. They have shown tactical intelligence and group coordination beyond my calculations. Perhaps there is more to study here than I first believed. Through the windows, Lisa could see explosions lighting up other parts of the facility. Marcus and the others were still fighting, even though the mission had been compromised. General Vextar noticed her looking. Your friends will be captured soon. Then I will have even more humans to experiment upon. This has been most productive. But as he spoke, Lisa heard something that made her heart jump. It was the sound of children's voices chanting something in English. What are they saying? The alien general demanded of his translator. The answer came back in that scraping alien language, but Lisa understood it perfectly. The children were chanting, "Remember Danny Harper. Remember the 10. Remember why we fight?" Lisa started laughing even though she was tied up and surrounded by enemies. "You still don't understand." She too. The explosions were getting louder. General Vextar looked at his communication device as reports came in from around the facility. His elite guards were losing ground to a handful of human parents and their own prisoners. "Impossible," he muttered in his scraping voice. 12 humans cannot defeat an entire military installation. Lisa Harper smiled from her chair, even though her hands were still tied. "You still don't understand what you're dealing with, do you?" Through the windows they could see fires burning in several sections of the facility. Emergency lights flashed red, and alien voices screamed orders over the communication system. "Report!" General Vextar snapped into his device. "Sir, the human children have taken control of sections 4, 7, and 9. They've armed themselves with captured weapons and are coordinating with the adult infiltrators. How many guards have we lost?" 43 dead, 26 wounded. "The humans are using tactics we've never encountered before." General Vextar turned back to Lisa. "What have you taught these children?" "We didn't teach them anything." "You did." Before he could respond, the door to the room exploded inward. Marcus Cole rolled through the smoke, firing his weapon at the alien guards. Behind him came 3 human children, including 12-year-old Amy Rodriguez. Amy was small and thin from months of imprisonment, but her eyes burned with intelligence and determination. She carried an alien weapon that looked too big for her hands, but she handled it like an expert. "Amy," Lisa called out. "Hold on, Dr. Harper, we're getting you out of here." Marcus cut Lisa's bonds while Amy and the other children kept watch at the door. Tony Brennan was unconscious but alive, so Marcus carried him. "How did you find us?" Lisa asked as they ran down the corridor. "Amy's been mapping this whole facility for months," Marcus replied. "She knows every corridor, every guard station, every weak point." Amy looked back at Lisa as they ran. "We've been planning this for longer than you have, Dr. Harper. Every day, every night, we've been preparing for someone to come help us." They reached an intersection where more human children were waiting. Lisa counted 17 of them, ranging from 8 years old to teenagers. They all carried alien weapons and moved with military precision. "Where are the others?" Lisa asked. "Group 2 is securing the detention center," Amy replied. "Group 3 is holding the hangar bay for our escape route. Group 4 is creating diversions throughout the facility." Lisa stared at the girl in amazement. "You organized all of this?" "We had to. General Vextar kept separating us and running experiments. We learned to communicate in code, to plan in secret, to never give up hope that someone would come for us." They moved through the facility like ghosts. The children knew exactly where the alien guards would be and how to avoid them. When they had to fight, they worked together with coordination that would have impressed professional soldiers. "How many children are still alive?" Marcus asked as they moved. 187, Amy said quietly. "We lost 13 over the months, but the rest of us are getting out of here." They reached the central detention area, where more human children were freeing the last prisoners. Lisa saw kids she recognized from the New Horizon, though they looked older and harder now. "Jennifer's bringing the ship around," Marcus reported over his radio. "We have 15 minutes before this place is swarming with Zephyrian reinforcements." But as they prepared to move toward the hangar bay, General Vextar's voice echoed through the facility's speakers. "Attention, humans. You have impressed me with your tactical abilities, but this escape attempt ends now. Surrender or I will activate the facility's self-destruct system." Amy looked up at the speakers with disgust. "He's bluffing. He won't destroy his own research." "How do you know?" Lisa asked. "Because I've been listening to him talk to his scientists for months. This facility contains 6 months of research data on human psychology. He thinks it's worth more than our lives." But General Vextar's voice came again. "You have 1 minute to surrender. After that, everyone dies." Marcus checked his weapon. "We need to move now." "No," Amy said firmly. "We need to split up. Half the children go with you to the ship. The other half come with me to the command center." "Absolutely not," Lisa said. "We're getting you out of here." Amy looked at Lisa with eyes that seemed far too old for a 12-year-old face. "Dr. Harper, do you remember what you told me in our secret messages?" That sometimes adults have to make hard choices to protect children? Lisa felt her heart sink. Amy, no. Well, sometimes children have to make hard choices to protect adults too. Before anyone could stop her, Amy was speaking into her own captured communication device, giving orders to children throughout the facility. All teams, execute Plan 7. Group Alpha to the hangar bay with the rescue team. Group Beta with me to the command center. Remember what we practiced. Amy! Lisa called out, but the girl was already running down a different corridor with half the children following her. Marcus grabbed Lisa's arm. We have to go. She's bought us the distraction we need. Lisa wanted to chase after Amy, but she knew Marcus was right. They had to get the other children to safety. They fought their way to the hangar bay where Jennifer had brought their modified Zephyrian ship. The remaining human children ran up the loading ramp while Marcus and his team provided cover fire. Where's Amy's group? Jennifer asked as she started the engines. They went to stop General Vextar from activating the self-destruct, Lisa replied, strapping herself into a seat. Through the ship's cameras, they could see Amy Rodriguez and her team fighting their way through the facility's command center. The 12-year-old girl moved like a veteran soldier, leading children who had learned to fight from months of alien torture. They reached General Vexitar in his command room just as he was about to activate the facility's destruction sequence. Amy shot the control panel with her alien weapon before he could complete the command. You lose. General, she said in a voice that sounded like an adult. General Vexitar looked around at the human children surrounding him. For the first time since Lisa had known of his existence, the alien general looked afraid. What are you? He whispered. Amy tilted her head, studying him like he had once studied her. We're what you created when you tried to break human children and failed. We're survivors. Children cannot be warriors. It defies all known psychology. Human children can be anything they need to be, Amy replied. That's what you never understood about our species. We adapt, we overcome. We never stop fighting. Over her radio, Lisa could hear the conversation as their ship lifted off from the facility. General Vextar's voice was shaking now. My research shows that human offspring are emotional, dependent, easily controlled through fear. Your research was wrong, Amy said calmly. Human children aren't weak. We just look weak to enemies who don't understand love. Love is a weakness. It makes species predictable. Amy smiled, and it was not a child's smile anymore. General, love doesn't make us weak. Love makes us impossible to defeat. When you threaten someone we love, we don't break. We become something you can't understand. What? We become unstoppable. Amy's team had planted Tony's explosives throughout the command center. As their ship cleared the facility's airspace, the explosions began. But these weren't random blasts meant to destroy. They were precisely placed charges that disabled the facility's weapons and communications, while leaving the structure mostly intact. Why didn't you destroy the whole place? Marcus asked over the radio. Amy's voice came back steady and sure. Because that would make us like them. We don't kill for revenge, Marcus. We kill to protect. As their ship jumped to hyperspace with 187 rescued human children, Lisa thought about what Amy had said. General Vexistar had spent months trying to understand human nature by torturing children. Instead, he had created something new. He had taken ordinary human kids and forged them into survivors who understood both love and war, both mercy and strength. Back on the facility, General Vextar stood in his damaged command room, staring at the star field where the human ship had disappeared. Around him, his scientists worked to salvage their research data. Sir, one of them reported, we have lost 6 months of psychological studies. The humans destroyed most of our files during their escape. But General Vextar wasn't listening. He was thinking about the look in Amy Rodriguez's eyes when she had called him predictable. He was remembering the coordination between the adult rescue team and the children prisoners. For the first time in his military career, General Vextar felt something he had never experienced before: genuine fear of what an enemy might do next. He had always believed that taking human children would make their parents emotional and predictable. Instead, he had learned that threatening human offspring made the entire species exponentially more dangerous. The humans hadn't just rescued their children. They had turned those children into something the galaxy had never seen before: young survivors who combined the tactical, thinking of adults with the fearless determination that only came from being a child, who had endured the unendurable and refused to Break! General Vextar looked at his hands and noticed they were shaking. He tried to tell himself it was just the adrenaline from the battle, but he knew better. He was afraid of 12-year-old Amy Rodriguez and what she represented. He was afraid of Dee,